Hello, everyone, and welcome to another World of Sasquatch. Today's episode is being recorded on 6/8/25. We're here with Terry Gaiman again today for this episode, with some very interesting forest people that have shown up in his session previous to this recording. But before I go into any of that, I now open this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, Joanne?
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, to let healing energies in. Let them love you, let them nourish you, and let them bring you to your highest good. We ask for benevolence now to come in with no conflicting agenda, so that we may have this conversation in great understanding. And we ask for malevolent or mischievous beings to be swept away right now, so that we may have this conversation in peace. And with that, and with great blessings that we always send your way, we say, so be it.
And so be it. So now this is going to be interesting. You may have heard from one of the lifting Q&As. We communicated with a Sasquatch by the name of Dugan. And Dugan is from around the Fairbanks, Alaska territory. But there is another forest person from his tribe, a female one by the name of Lovejoy, I believe. And she is the one that is actually going to speak this time. She's from that. He basically said he was part sentinel, part like alchemist, scientist, that kind of deal. And also what would guard or what would and liaison, what would also give the tribe the most resources, things of that nature. But Lovejoy is another position entirely. So we'll see which one, what she actually does. So give me a moment, and we will do this. So, right. Benevolent Lovejoy, the forest person. Let's see here. All right. And there's several others. There's Hambone, Hamstring. There's a few others around. Hambone goes, I never actually went anywhere. So to have returned, one would have had to have lived. Okay. All right. I might have something to say at the end. Okay. Yes, of course. All right. Lovejoy. Dugan is not the only one that can appear in photographs, but he just chose to, what's the term, have some shameless self-promotion there, like Fuma, showing themselves or exposing themselves, whichever you wish to actually account to them. But they were on the edge of what treatises and other things would allow at that point in time. Also to build communications in that way. That's smart with those drips that they have been putting in photographs. Things of that nature. Shrayon's another one from Spirit Lake that was hamming it up for the camera. Our people do this. I've done this myself. But people did not recognize this as a forest person. They just saw energies and orbs and things of that nature. I've done this, others have done this quite prolifically on that frequency wavelength with a lot of orbs and energies flying around. There are risks involved in either one of these ventures, but the reason that I come in today, and the reason I communicated originally with you, Terry, was to broker communications. He talks of liaison. I'm more this. They like with some of the other ET groups that are out there. They're not the only ones that can pull this little deal. where you have your valiant Thor who has Nordic secretaries that come in, the big boobed blondes that come in, if you're into that sort of thing. Then you have those like the ETs, the Pleiadian type groups that visited Billy Meyer. Again, big boobed blondes or brunettes. In this instance, the forest people thought that the moot had decided, well, if the Nordic groups can pull this little thing, we can pull this little thing. So, uh, in this instance, there are female Sasquatches that you're going to see come forward that are doing the same thing, being a liaison, initiating more of the the calm. You see that women seem to be more widely accepted and receptive to. The Nordic groups are not the only ones that can come to this claim to fame. So I would be more of a representative liaison or bridge uh, between forest people and humans, communication wise. This wouldn't really make me a politician like some of them, or an engineer, or anybody that builds, or anything like that, or a farmer, kind of like Dugan, but I would be more of a representative. This is more of a new thing that the forest people are trying because they see the other ET groups doing this. They want a greater seat at the table galactically, even though there are galactic origins. You're dealing with mainly the descendant lineages of those spacefaring groups. So trying to get past all the Galactic Federation testing and all the annoying things that have taken place in this interim, I would be seen more of as a face to the communications of forest people, of those that are in my area. He's feeling a little chill right now. This is because he's feeling some of the cooler winds that are up in the Fairbanks area. Even though it is approaching summer in Alaska, it doesn't get near as warm as you guys, or humid. It is essentially cool all the time. We're covered in hair, so this doesn't matter. But uh, this is where I can ask all either of you questions. I just wanted to come through as a liaison.
So, you know what? I am curious about that, just in general, about being covered with the hair. What temperature would be cold to you guys?
We also have a thicker skin too, kind of like what people would consider almost like a Neanderthalic a resistance to elements. This is where your Vikings got their resistance to the cold, and we're in the lands of the ice and snow warriors or ice warriors. They try to attribute that to reptilians, like in your Doctor Who, the reptilians of Mars kind of deal, like the Vikings. And yes, there is some DNA splicing that took place from groups like that. So that was actually right. Just like his companion said, basically, or like the Doctor says in this, where, oh, they can have poetry about a flower, but also be just basically vicious as well. And the companion Bill goes, oh, like the Vikings. He says, yes, like the Vikings. But in this instance, have we picked up some things from the Vikings? Yes, our Neanderthals, unfortunately, are ghoulish cousins, unfortunately. They're more insane, like chimpanzees are. Essentially, chimpanzees are more of a variant of Neanderthal or ghoul. They will even eat each other, which we do not understand this, but whatever, different strokes for different folks. But whatever floats your boat, you would say. But the hair in this instance, and also the thicker skin, we can tolerate temperatures up to nearly Arctic conditions. Then we start to really feel it. Technically, we're naked walking around. So we have, in some instances, not everybody, not all of us do. Some of us do. No, some of us do. I'm more of a younger Squatch. I'm roughly Fuma's age. I'm roughly 300 years old. Uh, he said he saw was a child at the time of Jamestown, so it was a baby. His parents were on your end of the country, but with or coming out, portaling out here. Don't think of it. No, it is not a vacation, Isaac. Okay, let's see. But in this, we can tolerate nearly Arctic conditions. but not really hard freezes like 100 below or something like that. We have our limits. We can go roughly to about -30, -40, and then we start to feel it more so. Then we have to be underground. Like if the temperature really drops. Then we start to feel it, but where it's deadly would be somewhere around 100, 120 below or more. Uh, this would be more in your primordial period type of conditions. But we do not foresee it hitting of that complete negative. Like you have your Antarctica, could we survive in places like that for lengthy periods? No. But if it got slightly warmer there, we could. Like if it was more on land and there were more forested areas or cave-like areas, absolutely we could. But it's at a point where it's not advisable even to us or you.
And do you stay away from the equator line? Is that at all uncomfortably warm?
For some of us that are more around used to the cold, there are versions of us around the equator line that have a thinner hair.
Okay.
They some of them are insane. That falls into your orang pendek types of Indonesia, your orangutan types. Some of them are insane. Some of them are quite kind. You have some of your baboon races, monkey races that fall under the line of both insane and kind. You have your Vedic monkey people like your Hanuman types. That's a different species. They're more of a Lemurian type that are used to warmer tropical environments. They're only loosely related to us by extreme cousinships from much further back in the time, but they can go into this at some point. I wouldn't trust 100% what some of them, any of them that have linked to different religions, would say. They are biased towards a particular belief system they brought to the table, like the Vedic monkey people. They're known as. They brought to the table a religious belief that they had even back on Lemuria, and their king Hanuman actually. I hate to not this isn't bashing, but he's got a reverence very similar to Odin. So that he sits on a throne himself, just like you saw in your Black Panther, that tribe that was basically revering Hanuman. He's still considered a worshipped being, even to this day. He's a kind person, but there are times where some of his tribes people tend to get the big head. So I would be cautious among the Vedic monkey people around the equator, around your Angkor Wat and places of this. Orang Pendek, I would not recommend. They are a crazy offshoot of both forest people and Vedic monkey tribes. Your chimpanzee, I would avoid completely. The chimpanzee types that's more ghoul. I would avoid some of these. But around the equator, are there forest people like myself around there? Yes. You would see, how could I describe them? They'd be a bit shorter. They would have a lighter hair color, either blonde or red, and kind of like an orangutan, and they have narrower center, and they would remind you of like the elder baboon on your Lion King a little bit, like the elder teacher. But they aren't baboons. They are essentially are a particular tribe. He ran into one by the name of Nim Nim one time. That was of that particular tribe. You would see them as more of an elder, but they're not all elders like how Segran and Sufas and all of them are. But with that. There is along the equator line, like like in your countries like Ecuador, and places also in South America, we do have forest people that have tribes there. They can speak to this on their own at some point, but they do inhabit areas such as jungles and places of that nature, where you would expect almost an ape to be or a monkey to be. But those with those tribes, with the forest people, you're relatively okay. Just be leery of orang pendek, of Indonesia, and the Cambodia areas, and some of the Vedic monkey people. Uh, just be fairly cautious.
And then how are the communications with the humans that are from those areas with the ones that are more, not crazy, obviously? Are there actual known, yep, we know they live here and blah, blah, blah going on in those areas?
Yes, oh yes, the natives, some of the natives are quite aware of both sides, of all sides. They keep this information close to the chest at forest people's request.
Mhm.
You would have to be hard pressed to find any of them that would be willing to reveal them. No insult intended to white northerners, but because a lot of people from with your particular skin tone actually began to oppress them ages ago. So, but they are some are willing to talk about some of the myths and legends. They're very similar to your Aborigines, where they only tell an outsider of the tribe so much, and then the rest is more mainly for them. That's how they act as well. So you would be hard pressed to get some of it, but they have an active relationship with forest people. Yes.
That's nice to know. Do you have any questions, Terry?
Yeah. Do you do a lot underground, or do you sleep inside, or what all do you do there?
Yes, where I'm at in Alaska, yes, this is mainly underground, near water sources. In the photograph that his friend took of Dugan, he was atop a waterfall, looking down at them from atop, basically saying, "Look at me, I'm standing on top of a waterfall." But this was near a water source that was going down inside the inner earth. You see, at some points, those water does come down. We filtrate it, and we grow plants with this amongst the crystals and quartz and minerals. You see, and that's why he was near that spot, because that's what he was doing. He was around that oasis. You see that the earth was generous enough to give us. So underground, I do mainly live underground. Do come up above. There are others that are on the surface. Those are the ones we would call weirdos, because the some of the conditions that we wouldn't want to sleep in, even though we don't mind cold. Some of them, a couple of the tribes on the surface wonder why all of a sudden there's people attracted with cameras, night vision, and people screaming in the woods after them. There's a couple tribes on the surface that said, no, we are staying here, we are hanging out here, and humans will just have to stay away from here. And they're weird that way. So there's not many. There are a few, and you have far more other cryptid types that are around. Like you have some tribes of dogmen, you have some tribes of others that are around on the surface, but the reports of the forest people are either that some of this other group or our groups trying to bridge communications. Now, the ones that you hear stories of where they're throwing rocks at cabins and things of that nature is because humans have encroached on a territory, an ancient territory of some kind, where somebody will come across an abandoned cabin, wonder why this has been abandoned, try to rebuild it, and wonder why there's a Sasquatch pissing on the site of the cabin and throwing rocks and whatnot. This is because they drove the last people out, and that's why it was abandoned. There you're dealing with at least 3, 4 different group types up there, but they all a lot of them are under the consensus of course, we don't want humans near colonies. And his friend was fortunate enough our friend's fortunate enough to get a photograph of Dugan. And I was near that particular location outside of Fairbanks, Alaska, and various other and all the way up into Anchorage. Around by Juneau, we do have to be careful because they have some of your military. There's also some mer species lurking about that aren't very kind up in the Juneau area there, and further up into the frozen wastes of the trenches. Those guys are creepy. You want to talk about cannibal? I would have to say that would fall under that territory. People have gone missing up there, even though your SSP and government work up there. We prefer to stay further down underground and just tend to ourselves. Hopefully, this answered.
Mhm.
Yeah, do you have much trouble with like military or reptilians trying to get in your area?
Oh yeah, military harass us periodically, like they do some of the Mer of Lake Iliandra, and all that. They harass them most of all. They're more interested in their DNA there than they are us. They're the only ones. They're the ones that got the butt of the harassment. But yes, they do harass us quite often. They try to prevent us from communicating with people or leaving clues. If we leave clues, sometimes your military will go out and clean it up, so people think they haven't gotten a response from us, and they stay clear of there. And your military tries to push people away from those areas quite often. People in Alaska get abducted by your military. There was even a famous story you guys saw about Paranormal Alaska, where there was a man that he sees this light trying to abduct him, and he thought it was aliens, but it was actually the local military using portal technology in the little fragmented bases, 8, 9 of them that are there in the one solid base. You have other countries there as well: Russia, Germany, China, and America up there. Mainly Russia, America, and China. But he saw this in his own SSP, but with this person, he resisted them long enough and pointed a gun at the portal and heard them say, sir, this is not worth it. We can't do this. And I would highly recommend that because they've annoyed us too. Aliens annoy us too. They usually you hear reports of us being abducted sometimes. Sometimes it's our own ships. Sometimes it is military, but they harass us, unfortunately, on a regular and constant basis.
So are you very protective of your young?
Most definitely. Like anybody would. So we keep them always underground. We do not necessarily let them come out unless of course they're old enough to fend for themselves. The groups that are on the surface, like I said, we call them weirdos because they get some of the brunt of the harassment. We communicate with them quite often. We make fun, but some of them are very kind, but they get the brunt of some of the harassment. But yes, we're incredibly protective. Especially if humans encroach in on territory that we've claimed and don't recognize the markers like the bent trees and the X's and such. But hence the abandoned. If you see an abandoned cabin, it was either used as a satanic site or it was one of some of our people that had pushed humans out of that site because it was close to a colony and or some of our young. So some of the sentinels they've gotten a little overzealous. Well, they'll basically piss and shit on a property until it drives the people insane. Which was the object of the exercise. Again, that's some of the weirdos that do stuff like that. We're not judging whatever turns them on. We don't care. It's just that, and we know they're listening, so we're poking fun. But you're dealing with several different type of variations up there.
Okay, are the humans, are they a little more cleaner up there in Alaska as far as with like trash disposal and stuff, or what would you say that we should do in America for that?
Yes, they are to an extent, but some of the Inuits, of course, are. The Mer people would disagree. Some of the Mer actually hate their guts. There's been this ongoing kind of bickering back and forth between some of the Mer up there, the oarfish looking ones, oarfish, tigerfish looking ones that are up there with the translucent bodies. They're the ones that are harassed mainly by the military. But they would say humans are filthy no matter what. and humans would say they're ugly no matter what. That's usually how this went. One tried to befriend the Inuit tribes, and the Inuit tribe, he was smiling at the Inuit tribe, but with a big toothy grin to a human with a child nearby. That would not bode well with anybody. Even though they would say humans are ugly, skin sacks, and humans would say they're ugly, toothy, ghoul-looking ones. There was a war that started over this. Now, are humans disposing of their trash in a manner that would appease any of the mer people? No. They try to either burn it or bury it. But places like Fairbanks and the rest of them have stores just like you have. They have contaminants just like you have. And what could improve this is creating new merch, you would say, or new techniques that are 100% disposable, like plastics and things of that nature. Essentially going into kelp or plant-based materials. This would please us very much. This would definitely please the Mer, but they have incredibly high standards. Even probably centuries later, you're probably going to hear from them more and more about, hey, there's still trash here. You could drop a metal bottle cap on the ground, and they would yell at you to pick it up. The Fae do this as well, but they at least understand relatively what's going on here. With what was I saying? The disposal of garbage. Some of your Inuits choose to use nature friendly everything. Some of your white descendants up there choose to burn some of their trash, which we're not a 100% fan, especially if it's the plastics and such. And neither of the Fae. It pollutes the air. But some are trying. They're trying to make minimal amount of waste. And that we can commend. Some people have incinerators there, like yard-sized chimney-like ones. That they put, they try to filtrate it as much as possible and be nature friendly. That's what we commend. But can you burn some of these things for fuel? He's seen this in his head where an incinerator could be turned into a generator. Yes, you'll start to see these eco-friendly technologies pop up as a result. Are we encouraging this? Yes. Are the Mer definitely all, no matter where the hell they are they encouraging this? Yes, but they're slightly more anal retentive about it. But absolutely, excuse, there is some interference. And up in my area, he was seeing a spider-like insectoid, arachnid type in his head. Yes, we unfortunately have to contend with a few of those creepy types. They're these blue and black and reddish-looking insectoids that also have white streaks in them, and they're more of a primordial earth type of creepy. Just like your Hippomilchus of your state of Connecticut, that's where your Blair Witch thing comes from, where it was a creature that was feeding on children like a vampire, comes out of the sea. It was more of a crustacean. Primordial earth, and could mind control people into blaming a young girl, and that's where you get the Blair Witch, where they crucified her, she curses them, and that's where you get the legend. It was really one of these creatures doing this. Those are creepy. These guys are a smaller version of that. He saw in his head where he thought he went into a barren area of the state of Connecticut in a past life of his, and then all of a sudden he thought he had been burned and then died. He thought it was like this hot fire. What was really was the venom of this creature spitting on top of him like an acid, and they break down. They desiccate everything and eat like a spider would. They are creepy. We have a small version of that in Alaska. That would be about the size of a standard lawnmower. And these are I'd have to say it's similar. It's primordial Earth, but they're a Martian remnant. You have some Mars versions that are like this. These little spiders that eat the plants and like vomit on things and then re-eat it. They're disgusting. But to each their own. Bugs, insectoids eat their own shit. And vomit. So no. Just like in your Doctor Who, you saw these fly type insectoids that they would just basically trade for everybody's poop. And the doctor goes, flies, hello, with this. But with this is similar, where they wrap things, desiccate it, let it rot, and then eat it. But these are a mix of a primordial variation and Martian variation of bits of bacteria that crashed here a long time ago, and also some of the panspermia that took place of around also the time of the Great Seeding as well, created some of these creepy variations, and also that one in Connecticut is this creepy variation of on a theme, and I won't even go that to that one because this thing is one of those is the size of a bus. So we will not do this. We have our limits, and some of us find creepy what you guys would find creepy. But in all actuality, there is a enormous amount of itching here. This particular variation should be avoided. These things can attack humans and little animals, but they tend to isolate themselves to where humans tend not to go. In the vasts of Alaska, they are cold resistant, and they tend to be in very rocky, mountainous areas, in places where humans generally can't get to. But be leery if you're up in that area of these spider-like creatures that are there. We try to talk to all creatures, at least some of us do. The ones that are on the surface tend to go old school with spear and rock, and they tend to then squish these things and then put them on a roasting spigot. So we're again, to each their own. I would not do this, but I guess if you need food, whatever. But this is where we're at with this.
Do you have like cell phones, computers, and TVs, and watch a lot of movies?
The technological based tribes do, and yes, we do have this. Dugan, he uses particular technology sometimes for the farming, but can we see some of your entertainment, at least the more technologically based tribes? Yes. And the Anakam lines? Absolutely, yes. We can communicate that way. You saw a version of us that type in your Star Trek Enterprise with an arboreal species that was an engineer race, the Zindi engineer race, that was very similar to some of the Anakam lineage in some areas. An engineer type similar to Dugan. There was a character in it that was similar to Dugan, but only white color. He has more of a darker black, brown, reddish color, and some little blonde in there, but with and he's also getting old, so he's getting gray. But anyway, with this, yes, some of us do have this. Some of us prefer old school, where you see the in nature types more and more and more, depending more on elemental magics and elemental all of it. Could we go over to tech if we needed to avert a danger? Yes. But if you see some of us going inside of orbs, like how TARDIS, it's bigger on the inside, that is a spaceship. But can we monitor communications? Can the different groups see the entertainment and everything? Yes, absolutely.
Okay, you have like teachers and schooling and all that.
Yes, we have schooling and teachers for the young. We do. If you look into the community where we are, a lot of the forest people will communicate in areas where there's crystalline structures, and we can communicate through this. Now, if you were to see like more schooling, it's more of a familial type of thing. You would see it as more of a homeschooling type of situation, but for multiple children. And also you would see it as more of an elder storytelling type of thing, orally based. But can the technologically based versions of us have it more like school? And will it eventually be kind of like your Charles J. Hall and the Tall Whites of Nellis, where human and alien children were in the same classrooms? Yes. We can foresee a day where this takes place. Yes.
Okay, great. So you can learn a lot through telepathy also.
Yes, and tapping into the quantum field. Yes, we some of us will be like the ones in Spirit Lake, for instance. They monitor to see where people's belief systems are, so they can know when to communicate and when not to. We do the same thing, and we know who to reveal ourselves to, and hence why we revealed ourselves to yourself, himself, and yourself. This is, we also notice the very generous branding of our name. So, the world of Sasquatch, it's the, like it is the thing. This appeals to us quite heavily, and to a lot of other groups going, oh, okay, they called themselves the. We are also a the. This matches. I joke, but at the same time, that happens to be true. You label something as the that tends to be a hub. For communications, just saying. But yes, this is how this communication came about.
Okay, great. Yeah, you sound very intelligent. Do you guys stay fairly healthy then? You don't need like so many doctors and to
Well,
work on health issues and injuries?
we do have injuries, and we do have doctors. That we do have some that do work in the medical areas, just like your Leon of Spirit Lake and others. We do have medical and engineer types. Do we have hospitals like yours? Not necessarily. You would see this as more of a sick bay type of situation, like you see on Star Trek or on a naval ship or something, where they have a ship's doctor and you have a designated area. It is more like this. If there is an injury, even though we regenerate faster than humans do, even though we're related, of course, there are doctors that can take care of these types of things. So there, yes, it's very similar. Think of, like, again, rock alcoves, and where it's like say a rock version of a starship. Let's just put it that way, like the Enterprise, where you have areas where people live, but they're alcoves and shelves and such, and little tribal areas. Think of like the Starship Enterprise if it went more caveman-ish looking. And that's essentially what this looks like.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's pretty much all my questions.
Well, good. So, is there anything in particular, since you wanted to come on today, that you would like to say to everyone?
Yes, the communication between our people and yours will be more facilitated in a lot of different respects. Now, some of our people might go more gung ho, you would say, than others, and maybe gung ho to the extreme of the extreme, even with people that might not be ready for it. Uh, you get who I'm speaking of. In this, I will keep the name silent, but uh, they have to gauge a little bit better. There might be a level of excitement for the communications, but at the same time, we have to really gauge. Sometimes we don't know until communications began if it was a good idea or not. Even Fuma has been stressing to you guys that there has to be a certain level of calm, a certain level of like, how can I put it? Just level-headed and level energies, not a big boisterous, like explosive, like nuclear warhead type, or this loud telepathy. It has to be evened out within the analem, always. This is how it's best to communicate with our people. Others might see it a little differently. Again, there's not necessarily within our tribes. Others might see it a little differently. Some of your dogmen tribes, some of them are a little weird that way. They expect an Anhalam state too. They have another word for it. It's a longer, drawn out word that sounds nothing like the word calm to us. It sounds more like, you know how Russians always appear angry, and they can even say calm, and it sounds like they're screaming at you. This is essentially Dogman right there. So they have this, and they're basically telling you to calm down, and it sounds like they're barking at you. So they're like, calm down. This is calm. That's how they sound. Just for future thought, when you're dealing with dogmen, they sound like they're screaming at you, but they're actually trying to communicate, or like how you have a regular dog that is barking, or if they're going, they're actually talking to you. This is how dogmen are. They can give me the middle finger all they want. They're basically the Russians of the group, where they just sound like they're pissed all the time. And some of them are, I must say, but and some of them are crotchetier than some of our people. But we've gained more of an understanding and peace with some of the Antiquan descendant lineages. But they can speak to this at some point if they want to. But this is that level of communications where it has to be a calm, and we know when something is upsetting and something is understandably you're understandably pissed about something or somebody or some situation, and or if something drastically affects like your neurological conditioning or your health or something of this nature. This is where mulligans are awarded in this area, but for continuous communications, it must be on the level, if this makes sense.
It does. And are you saying this was like a large meeting and we're saying across the board communication all
Yes.
over the place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is more of a moot meeting where the elders decided that this is the prime communication type. This is why we've warned him about certain outbursts as well. We understand, but we also must maintain the line as well. And we will always communicate with all three of you, but we are just basically stating how this is most put in the prime communication zone, if this makes sense.
No, it's wonderful. I hope everyone who's listening to this is actually excited to feel this way, because there must be a certain amount of feeling of safety and or that humanity has reached a certain point for you guys to come to this decision to move forward with this, I would imagine. So that's great to hear. So I don't have any last questions. Do you, Terry?
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it, and
Mhm.
loved what you left us with. So that's wonderful.
Yes, and other groups might, not necessarily just forest people, other groups might leave you with poop, dead animals, all this other stuff. We're not weirdos like this. So, the truth be told, some of the tribal ones might leave you with like a weird dead animal wrapped thing or something. We get the understanding behind this. It's more of a friendship thing.
Okay.
But don't turn down any gifts when you get them. There's a difference between when puckwudgies and ghouls do it, you will notice a difference, or when humans poison animals, like you saw last year. Puckwudgies will kill just to kill. A forest person, if they leave something that is dead, they're choosing one that is actually dying, but they're also showing it as more of an offering of how could the way they translate it is more of an offering of friendship in a package, a transition from one communication to another. They're showing that as a gift of a form of communication, or like an animal would leave you like a dead bird or something, and that's really a gift. That's how some of those tribes see it. So if you see that in the future, don't be appalled at this. Accept it graciously. Even if you go and bury it, most humans do this. They might dig it up and say, "Here, this was our gift," and just basically acknowledge it back and say, "Thank you for this gift. We must place it over here and bury this." Or else they'll keep digging it up and putting it on your doorstep with dirt and other crap with it, and bugs and all this other stuff. So if you get something like that, I ought to say, bury it and say, "Thank you, brothers. Thank you, sisters. This gift is acknowledged," and put it in a place of reverence, even if you bury it, and then put stones and all this other stuff around it, and show that it was acknowledged as a gift, even if you're appalled at something like this. We understand, but some tribes operate this way, and some in your area operate this way. We don't. Others do. I just wanted to warn you about this. It's not all them ghouls and puckwudgies have been scurrying about and being retarded as well. And cruel. And some humans have as well in your area, just to warn. So in your area of Virginia here, and in our area of Alaska, and also in yours, Terry, of Pennsylvania, there's been some creepy things of that nature. But we will leave this here. So thank you, everyone, for listening to my voice this time.
Thank you.
Goodbye. And blessings on Hallam always. Yes, Fuma, I made sure to add it with the blessing. Thank you. So, yeah, she's a pretty easy channel. There's been other female chieftains I've run across that we're going to have to include on here as well. There's a lot of there's some, and this doesn't really align with this whole sacred feminine argument and all this other stuff that's going on right now, or the goddess. And I'm hearing them go, no, 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 no. It's more of it's more like not this. It's just more of an equality thing. Humans tend to emphasize in psyops whether one is more important than the other. Female empowerment, alpha male empowerment, they tend to do this. They're basically saying, no, that's all psyops. In this case, even though it seems to match up towards the whole sacred feminine thing, they're basically wanting to emphasize, no, they're just showing that they have equal roles and things. That's all they're saying. So they want to make sure to keep the psyops aspects out of this. So, in case somebody complains, is what they're saying. So, yeah, this has been great. So, Terry, I don't know if you have anything else to add before we take this out at all.
Yeah, just nice to meet her, and thanks for coming through.
Joanne?
No,
So,
everything's great.
Yeah. Okay. So, thank you for watching this episode of The World of Sasquatch. I now close this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, thank you, everybody. Bye bye now.